And here, it gives you an area where you now determine whether actually there is need, and also whether if there is need for any priority, and also that's why we are going to weigh the degree of danger of the situation in which that individual is in. It's just be simple as that. Now, once you determine the level of the individual problem or the individual situation, that's when now you move on to look at the issues of then it is eligible for much support. Using your knowledge, using the skills and the descriptive process, right? Because as you deal with each case every day, these things become part of your record, become part of your knowledge, become part of your skill. And those will be able to actually ignite that type of reflection in you to check whether this problem is as serious that requires an intervention or not. But here, you must be very careful. The same problem would have dire consequences for dinner and not for our death money. Yeah, it's possible, right? Same problem, but different impact and also consequences that form. So that's where your assessment comes in for you to be able to understand what you can do and how you look at that problem. So that's the initial stage. The second one is what we call the comprehensive assessment. Comprehensive assessment picks up from where you leave your case during the initial assessment. This becomes a comprehensive assessment, and this is an assessment which will be based on the eligibility that you have discovered or you have established of the needs of that particular services. So that's how you start. It means your initial assessment will tell you, okay, let me see, let me test if you still remember. What do you think an initial assessment would lead to in terms of weighting, the eligibility, the seriousness, and whatever it is? What do you think would happen? Anybody?
Okay.
What would happen in your initial assessment?
First, you determine the degree of the danger.
I used two words here, which you must remember. Degree of danger and the issue of eligibility. What is eligibility? What would happen during your initial assessment? eligibility, degree of danger, and things like that. Go to the gender. You don't come with the, you're not actually here.
I mean,
That's because
so, eligibility.
yes, what is that?
It is, okay, because it is a social work unit, it is a state whereby, someone has the right to do something for themselves, but also that same thing should be.
No, you start again. Dinner can help you or your friend behind the dinner. Or William Ashwood.
Never.
In the state of having right to do all these things,
Or do the
shut up. Okay. In the state of having that, in the state of having right to do all these things,
Women are totally appropriate.
That's the eligibility. Okay.
So I was thinking eligibility is the potential. It's the potential of
Don't say that. Don't say I was thinking like that.
it's the potential which someone has in doing something.
No. The reverse. To be eligible to something, right? Deserve it. To deserve. Eligibility is to deserve. Yeah. So, your initial assessment, you are looking at whether or not your social, your services are deserved. You are, right? Eligibility. You are weighing, right? That's all. Degree of danger, you are weighing. Now, if I've done this assessment, does this individual deserve? Does this case require system of intervention and that's like that? So here, the issue was not only about this term here, but the issue was what does it tell you as a social worker in your process of assessment and as you proceed with the case, if you look at those two words. What does it do? Just tell me what you think would be the situation. Very simple question. Very, very simple. Don't know why you ask it. What comes to your mind in your initial assessment when you weigh the problem based on the danger of that individual, whether that individual is eligible to get assistance or whether actually he deserves the assistance? What should come to your mind quickly and immediately? And you'll be shocked when I mention it or not mention it. What will you say? So, yeah, you were talking about something. What will you say?
Degree of danger.
Serious?
The degree of change of danger will determine if the service user is really eligible or deserves the immediate help or the help plan.
No, that's going round and round. Let's talk about the assessment here. So, what is it? Jennifer,
What comes to my mind?
you are looking at the issue of a service user as an initial assessment. It tells you whether somebody is eligible or not, right? Whether it deserves it or not. So what do you do the social work after you assess and get those things? The either or the whatever it is. What do you do? Intervene. How do you intervene? Yes, intervene, yes, in courts, but how? If this does not deserve or is not eligible, that's the answer I was looking for. If the case fails, your test is not your case. Your initial assessment, right? If your initial assessment shows that this individual is not eligible, this individual does not deserve, it means it's not your case. Transfer. Yes?
So it is the opposite of that.
Which one was
Of
that?
saying the person is there
Yes.
and they are also eligible.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
That's the case.
what do you do?
Fair assessment.
What do you do?
No, okay. My question is, sir, right now is explaining, if the person is not eligible and does not deserve the social service, you refer, right? What is the opposite? That's what I'm asking.
That the service user is
there.
It means that your case now, you open it now.
You intervene.
You intervene now.
You do the
So, that one brings us to our comprehensive assessment. Our comprehensive assessment comes in only when your case deserves. Can we pay attention? Pay attention. Comprehensive assessment comes in and commences immediately. Because during your initial assessment, you are convinced beyond reasonable doubt that the service user deserves, right? It means it is your case. You can't ignore it. It is your case. Right? If Gilbert beats Dina,
That's what we understand.
no, what? No.
I don't think I'm getting dinner.
Oh.
Dina can beat you by the fear.
So do it the other way around.
Well, that's what the best. That's why. Dina hits Gilbert very seriously. Gilbert has lost three teeth and one eye. And the case comes before you in a law. In your initial assessment, would this case be your case?
No.
That's what we're talking about. Your initial assessment weighs the type of case, and it sort of deceives the cases that come to you, whether those cases actually belong to you or other organizations or other agencies. The fight between Dina and Gilbert is a criminal issue, right? So you should be able to know where that case is going to. Police, hospitals, whatever it is and so on. Finally, when I come back to it's a family issue. Right? Because Gilbert does not give Dina enough money for managing the home and also steals her money on top of not giving her the money. So the fault becomes a family issue. So this was a social worker, then you come to the family relations therapy and all sorts of things, right? Yes. So your initial assessment is very, very critical. Because what's going to happen is you may deal with a case which eventually will just consume your time, your resources, because you're going to places investigating and whatever it is, only to discover that that case does not belong to you. So your initial assessment is critical, because that's where you will tell whether you need that case or you don't need that case. That should be in your mind and very important in practice. So your comprehensive one is the one which picks up from your initial, and anything which is comprehensive in your approach means that that case is yours and you need to continue. It means you have to, one, identify the needs, and also it helps you to try to check on the service user situation, and also gives you more of the information that you need for you to make decisions, right? Because once it is comprehensive enough, it means that now you are able to get information that you need. And it is at this stage where you have to look at issues of how do I get my information around, and also you remember I talked about the linear type of information, right? And also the maps information collection techniques where you use different stakeholders or different people to give you the information that you need. So this is a stage where naturally you will be getting informed about the situation which is there. And also, once you reach that information, is that when you, in your initial assessment, you think and are convinced, beyond the reason of doubt, that the case belongs to you. It is at the same time that you decide on the type of people you are going to meet to get the information related to the situation with yourselves, right? Because now, since the case is yours, then you must know who stakeholders to get the information that I require for the processing of my case. And that type of thinking fits into your comprehensive assessment, right? Because when you go there, you know, okay, if these are supposed Gilbert, first thing first, I'll go to find out, does Gilbert go to church or not? No. Does Dina go to church? Yes, to a prophet. Okay. So you go and check where Dina goes to a prophet, where this one goes because that's go to church, village men and whatever it is. That information will build a picture for you to understand and how you can manage your case as it is. Alright, let's move on. This is assessment, and these are assessment stages or types that you look at. The number 3 one is what we call the core assessment. C-O-R-A. Core. This one here, after your comprehensive collection of information and all that you have done, helps you now to actually pinpoint on the real needs of that individual. That's what it's called, the main, right? Pinpoint the core assessment. That's where you will pick out the real needs of your service user. The reason is very simple. If you cannot pick core issues there, right? You will have problems in designing your intervention. Because you can't say, Gilbert, Dina fought because stuck with us, right? Or because Gilbert steals Dina's manners, or because you are not getting the actual problem. Actually, there's no problem for you there. I think there's no problem for you there because it's not your case. You can see it, right? What would be the need between the two? Fight. What would it be? Can you just visualize and think about it? What is it? Right? Do you know what you do? Is it possible? I'm there and drama, we start to opinions of Gilbert. So we have a lot of those thoughts. And in social way, we around that. Things that we call hypothesis, right? Real imaginary things try to give a picture around the situation. What would it be? Would it be Gilbert? Would it be Dina? Is it the environment? Would it be a hill? Something like that, right? Is it Dina's friends or Gilbert's friends? Yes. Gilbert may be weak at decision making. So that you can, when you go by Gilbert, but Well, that's like that. What is that? What is it? So here, that's why you have to get the real issues. What are the issues around the situation that you're dealing with? If you can't do that one, make an intervention. It will be very, very different. So this one here, you identify the real needs, and also here you have to actually collect the information that you actually needed for your work. And one allows you to look at what are these issues here? Who amongst us is a stakeholder, right? And also amongst us, who can support us in which way and how that can be done, right? So here, you really, because of identifying your core issue, then it means you're moving on to intervention, right? So issues of, all right, I know the problem of Gilbert and family dysfunction. Which children are used to help us? Which procedure do I use to help? Which policies guide me on this? You're afraid of those gender-based violence policies there to guide you. Which laws are there for the Family Relations Act? How can you do that? Marriage and whatever relations, whatever you do that. So here, we are now moving towards having an intervention set for the two. And then here, that's why you need to have all these things in supply within yourself. And what did I say these things are? Constitute what? They constitute what you call your knowledge about social, right? Policies, laws, procedures, and all sorts of things. Those constitute what you call your core knowledge in social work. And from there, then you should be able to get down to deal with the problem that you have identified. And also, before even you move, you can know all these things around. Before you move on to come with an intervention, we're talking about assessment, right? Assess the areas in which you are working. For example, that's not about issues of policy or whatever it is. So, each organization has its own policies, right? For example, if the organization you are working in, right, or working for, is very religious, right? And Gilbert comes to you for help because has been beaten by Dina. Your organization's policy, and when we agree that Dina goes to Prophet and Gilbert has never been to any inside of the church, and the organization is very religious. Your case falls outside your agency, right? So what you mean you have to do is, first of all, you have assessed yourself as user, you have reflected on yourself, your knowledge and skills, and also now assess the agency. If I bring this into my agency, are we able to help or not? Right? Because all agencies have their own policy. This case you can't handle, that case you can't handle, this thing you can't do, something like that. So you also need to look at that and see how the readiness of your agency would be in meeting the needs of your services. So the assessment is quite cyclic. One was the problem, yourself, where you are working, and also society work together to inform your assessment. And what will happen if your agency is not able to help in this matter? Anything? What would happen? Nothing.
Okay, what do you have in implemented? How does it flow for?
You have reached this far, and you discover that your agency cannot help because of their policies, or because they don't have the resources, the resources to help your services. What do you do?
Terminate.
You see that
Terminate. Terminate.
Yeah, termination. So why are you keeping the case yet your agency doesn't have resources
Now, that's where I wanted to draw your attention. Will you look at yourself as a professional who knows his work?
Yeah.
Why should it fail at the end? When you started from somewhere, your knowledge is shallow. You don't understand your social work, you don't understand your agency in which you're working. You have to understand your agency and you have to understand your social work practice procedures, right? That knowledge difference or the lack of that knowledge will actually determine your level of competence in your social work. We talked about competence the other day, right? Yes. You're not competent. If you're a social worker, first thing you get to your organization or an agency, you must understand it. What does it stand for? The do's and don'ts of that organization. So when I do cases, they're always looking at that. That's why we talked about the issue of students. As you're getting back, you slow your mind, you get forward, your mind gets back. If I help this individual, this is going to help you. Right? If you do this, this is going to help me or not. Something like that. Yeah, so that is where you find yourself staying in terms of your skill. But we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's assume you just joined the agency, so you don't know what's happening, right? That's what the thing is in the experience. When you get experience within the setup of that agency, you should be able to know those things. No? I've given some class an example. As a new young practitioner, I think I was 24 years old. That's a long time ago. How do you think I looked like at 24? Right? So, a case came to my office. A case came to my office of an individual traveling from Blantyre to the Lilongwe. Arrived in the Lilongwe, Blantyre to the Lilongwe, that time I was in Lilongwe. There's a cartoon of the story, and she has no money to proceed to the Lilongwe. During our time in government, we had the specific vote, money, to help people who are stranded, right? We are trying to help Zimbabwe, Achani, and we are using warrants, travel warrants. Just sign the name, whatever it is. They just put in a bus, government will pay after some time. Right. So, this lady comes, and the bearers the stage and so forth, so early in the morning, like that, okay. Just the story she gave me, as where do you come from, everything, because of the rest of the stage. And okay, where do you work, something like that. Right? I issue a warrant, and she travels to the home. Safe. She's safe. Then another case, a woman comes to complain of stealing something. About the husband coming with sinful chat and all sorts of things. I said, well, what are the good things? Garimo to told her to investigate that case. Right? And the village where I went became suspicious. In which case, this and that, something like that. You know, the social was very new. It was 1980 or so. Social was just starting right now. Because the first call that we had training social work was about 79, 78, 79. And this social work picked up around 80, 81 in Malawi. So I go there, the village is very serious if we were going there to investigate what was new to them. Right? Here the husband and wife have quarreled. The third party comes to look at that. Come up there, falsehood and charity, all those things is nonsense. I go there, almost attacked. Right? But there was lucky because there's the house of the minister who used to live in his village. Live that store, you never need to maneuver about that. So these people said, they asked, and they said, oh yeah, that time was the Minister of Labor and Social Welfare. So Teresa was the Minister of Labor and Social Welfare. They said, oh yeah, can cool it down, careful. But you know what you write reports to your boss, immediate boss, right? And it goes on up to Capital Hill. Right. Now, my boss was experienced enough and had done a lot of this. Then when he was going through the report, he intercepted his report from the two cases. That's why I said, look at this lecture, and he started looking at your way and started taking you away from there. And I was just new, right? I think I was maybe 6 months old in the organization. So I said, I'll come here, go there. And my boss was in Blatter, I was in Tom. So to go to Blatter, yes, come here. I've seen you handle 2 cases, yes. How do you look at this? Explain those and that and so on and so forth. And you're only 6 months old in a job. And you're the boss. One, you're worried, you're not even settled, you're not even enjoying your salary. And so you're worried. They said, no. I called you because I wanted just to remind you about how procedure is supposed to be. 6 months I would have known about procedure, I've already been. So we were doing theory in class, right? That was now actual practice. Yeah. Those things in class, how do you translate those things into practice on the ground? Right, so that's the issue. So they are here, I think that they smoke. The first case of a lady, things stolen, she told you all your story, this and that, and you helped her, she went to the wrong way. That's fine, she went to the wrong way. That's okay. But, procedure. You failed the procedure. You failed the procedure, you failed the process. Okay. What is it? The practice is, this lady is working and she's traveling in zone. What she has done is go back to her employers. You have also some of those in the zone. Agriculture is in the zone, but in the road in the branch have gone. And two, she should have gone. To my employer, how did you know that she works for agriculture? Step number 1. Eligibility. How did I know she is eligible and that's where she works? I made her. Right? Number 2. It was so quick. She comes in and I help and she goes. What went wrong? Issues of emotional involvement, judgment, things like that. By the way, you are a bachelor. Yeah. And from your statement, this is a doctorate, she's also experienced. Don't you think you're involved somewhere, somehow? When you have a good boss, you tell you everything openly, right? Because what I'm trying to do is also training you. That's a matter of 2 years probation, because you assume those 2 years you are learning a procedure, right? You should know this. So, if you were looking at the lady and yourself and whatever it is, you must have been affected psychologically. You are a man, she's a lady, and you feel bad, and you feel that you next time, change the employer. Prove that actually is working or not working. If anybody just traveling around, or something like that. Case number 2. Lady complaint, you went to the field. Yes, that is it. And what happens is that you are household and so on and so forth. So here, I'm trying just to explain that when we're talking about splitting there, and might be talking of 1980, that's wrong time. How many years is that? 23, 43? I understand.
No,
40.
47. 1983.
Good, no, it's good.
Yeah,
So the 3 years. Yeah, that's 43 years. Ago. Huh? So, look here. When we talk about reflective practice in social work, we're talking about this. Because they bring you back, right? And once you do this, then you're building on your practice. You're gaining an experience and you understand what you're supposed to do. So you can see when we talk about issues of procedure, process, and stuff like that, they become very key to your social work practice. Jennifer, what's the problem? I know it's missing you, but you need to have your time to discuss your things around. Right? So you can see, reflective practice gives you an opportunity to build your skills, right? It means after that, I never made mistakes. It means this became like everything I want to do with something, I go back. Procedures, processes, this and that, something like that. And you build your experience or something like that. Your skill also develops. There's issue of knowledge and all sorts of things. This is what assessment actually teaches you what to do. And also, issues of collaborative approaches. During the assessment, any of core assessment, there's issue of collaboration. But Jennifer, what is collaborative approach to social work practice? Don't answer.
Approach is.
Okay, don't answer.
Don't ask.
Okay, answer. You see? So, at this level again of your assessment, you get issues of collaboration, right? What do you do? And collaboration is what we call the case management, how you manage the case, right? I think you are all aware of what I'm talking about. So, these are the things that right. So now let's look at the steps that you follow in your assessment. Let's be pretty straightforward this one. First step is the preparation for assessment. You decide who you are going to see, where you are going to get information, and also what will be the limitations. And also when you are getting to collect your information, be able to critically look at that information, whether that information can give you a lead into the actual problem, and also how you think that problem will be looked at and met. So you make your own choices of information, how you are going to get it, who's going to give you that information, and also look at issues of limitation. It's possible you can get information which is limited, right? And anytime you have information which is limited, then your dealing with that case again becomes a bit limited because there's nothing you can do about it. Number 2 step is what we call the data collection. It's about how who gives you who do you need, right? That's why I talked about the duality of data collection. Dual sources, multiple sources of information. In social work, never use linear approach. Otherwise, you don't get the story. When I went to check on this lady in Zomba, 1980, I used linear. And we are seeing consequences, right? Or the going to be business if somebody is not going to come and say, no, this, that, something like that. So linear. I shall use the dual approach. Call the husband, talk. Call the apostle from the husband, talk. Apostle from the woman, talk. Friends of the lady of the church, also something around. Then I will get concrete information, and that could have guided me in decision making. Sometimes they get information which is so contrary to the case that you are dealing with, right? So that's why you need to do that. But how do you know that information is the right information or not? How do you know that information you are collecting is actually true and is going to help you manage your case? It's just a story. Someone is just telling you a story. So how do you know that actually that story is true? How do you know? How do you know? We have techniques that you don't need to, you can't do this now here. It's another big subject matter which we are not covering in this university. But as you start practicing social work and you want to go into practice, whatever it is, you also have to do a lot of things. Something that you call the light test. Right? The light test. The light test is an approach of an instrument that is not an instrument, but it is the process which helps you to look at the information and weigh whether that information actually is true or not. And how do you know it's true or not? The problem is mine, and I'm telling you about my problem. You can't say it's true or not, right? But there are so many ways that you go around it to know whether that individual actually is telling you the truth or not. So those are a bit complicated for you now. They're just good for you. If you're here, but next time you want to do the practice, then maybe you can go and do that test. That's all. One of those things, for example, that's eye contact. If somebody is telling you the truth, do not close the eyes open. Never. He's angry, he needs help, because face it with him. You shift your eyes, the eyes will follow you. You know, this one has a problem. Something is telling us. 3 repetitions. So you know how to set your questions. Same question, put it differently. The same question, you put it differently. You can tell when the information is right or wrong, is cheating you or something like that. And also, real probing questions which involve the individual self, right? Something like that. For example, remember when numbers right? He's telling the truth or whatever it is. But the problem is, if you take your information from different sources, this lady leaves the home at 7:30 when the husband has gone to work. She comes back at 5 o'clock before the husband arrives from work. Every day. Where does she? Right? Yeah. Suppose those small questions like that. So far, she would have put down the and I can't afford it. I'm not sure what the head is. So she would say, I know that. Is that the family order? Yeah. Sasa katika kucheza tukatoka magaenda njuga but the most effective is where you use an instrument to measure weight to show, just like a breathalyzer. So that's it. But my nothing yes. You had palpitation, you had also could be later and sure. So this is not true, yeah, so but those ones there's much more good for our policy. You know, but a policeman is not instead of using a light test, I'm not to measure properly. Or sooner there. That's another process. Number 3, another step is how you weigh your data. Right? That's how we talked about issues of eligibility here. With the way your information that you gather, whether it is the services that are eligible or can deserve that type of assistance that you all those things around. Now, also, when you're looking at issues of the weight here, you're also looking at the issue of what type of procedures they're going to have. So, usually this will be the theories that you apply and something like that. Is it something that you can handle without any evidence, or something that you can handle based on the evidence that you can get from the theory that you're going to use? Well, now we have so many of this. Then you have the issue of how you analyze your data. That's very, very important. Poor analysis, poor results. That's it. So here you must be very, very careful how you interpret an interpretation of that information of the data, so that you're able to understand, gain the understanding of the situation as it is obtained at that particular time, right? So how you interpret your data will be dependent on how you analyze that data. That's what we're going to have. Wrong analysis, wrong interpretation. Yes, nothing else. That's why you need to do that. And at this stage of data analysis, you are actually developing your ideas for interpretation. What do you think you can do in your own interpretation or something like that? And also, eventually, you have to look at how do you use it. So, in the use of the data, actually, the last part of you are looking at the assessment and the steps that you will follow. So, here, how you use your data must translate into a judgment. How do you judge the situation that you face, and how do you proceed like that? And this is how it is. Issues of which agents to use, which methods to use, procedures, and all these things actually will depend on the way you have analyzed your data, and also the way you have made your judgment in order to proceed. So, the question is, do you think at this stage you can come up with a zero that you fail to make a decision?
No.
No. Okay. We shall see. Okay, quickly. O'Brien 2009 proposes about 5 ways in which to overcome some of these complexities in your assessment. And actually, it is that we need to look at all the theories that we can't mention them now, but we are going to get them next year. How you can reduce the problem. Because everything that is as a human being, how many things are there? There's the individual, the environment, right? And how that individual manages himself. Simple and straightforward like that. So here, you need to look at how you can proceed and what you are supposed to do. Now, how do you guide your assessment? What guides your assessment? Assessment guides, the practice of assessment is guided very easily by 2 small things around. One of those, critical thinking, is important. When you talk about data analysis, all sorts of things, whatever it is, they involve a lot of thinking, right? Critical thinking. What is right, what is not right, what can work, what cannot work. So you have to do that. So critical thinking looks at how you are able to analyze underlying assumptions. Means what you have are just your hypothesis, right? Until they have been proven by a theory that you are going to use as your process. That's what it is. So your assessment is a little bit critical in nature, where you are going to do that as you analyze. And I said, how do we analyze our information? We have some people who don't think. Also, President was also Galatian. Is he thinking valid? Huh? Yeah. There would be somebody who doesn't think. What do you mean?
Somebody doesn't think.
Yeah, you can think, but wrongly.
But you are thinking.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, when you are dealing with the social work, you're going to show the thinking, but thinking wrong. That's when we come to this theory. So, what do we do with the theory? Psychodynamics, psychotherapy, so how do they happen? Right. So, as we are here, we are all thinking different things. Some of you are not even here. Some of you are very hungry. Okay, Jennifer, that's a market. Yes, so that's what it is. And try to be good at assessing unfamiliar situations, right? In other words, they are telling us that we must be very critical on what we are dealing with. And particularly where we think something is a bit unfamiliar, we need to focus on that. And once you do that one, you have to come up with some hypotheses which you need to test against the available field that you know. So it means until you apply your procedure, all that you are doing are just assumptions of the problem, and also the things. So from there, then it comes to what you can do. Number two, from critical thinking, is your skills in research. So research skills is to be able to use evidence through research and also be aware of what existing research work. It does help us in social work. Right. And I think the other issue is being culturally competent. What is cultural competence? Cover this. Remember, I always tells me. I don't just mention it. My friend tells me, but he mentioned it. He mentioned it. What is cultural competence? Anybody? Jennifer, what is cultural competence?
What is cultural competence? Neighbor.
Being able to know the values of culture.
No, I think just leave it. Let's not answer. It will be answered.
And the living will judge.
Knowledge also is one of those important issues just mentioned over and over again when it comes to issues of assessment, right? You need to have requisite and adequate knowledge based on what you know about social work. And also, you must be appreciative that social work subsists so much in various interrelated disciplines. That's very, very important. Social work without psychology is not social work. Without sociology is not social work. Economics is not social work. Also, so try to look at those things and also see how they can inform you and build your knowledge base. Right. So issues of policies and laws and whatever it is, don't say, no, you can't do that. You need to know some of these things. And lastly, all your assessments should be case and situational context. So you look at each case in its own setup, in its own context, and also its own merits and demerits. That's why I said that the problem will be similar, but the impact will be different, right? It will be similar, but the impact will be different. So you have to look at the service user context, also look at the problem and see how you are going to look at that. When we meet, we will be waiting up with the two critical issues, intervention and for intervention We must look at that. We will work that. Now we are left with 2 to go. And he is gone.
All the methods you do.
Context. Contextualize. Look it from a context of your social worker, when you are service user and yourself. Look at it in what context is this has been manifested from the last problem we manifested. And also talk about cultural competence. What is cultural competence?
In the process of your personal rights and duties.
So I thought you do the best. Also, so what happens when you know your beliefs? But that's not what your beliefs are. But also, cultural competence is not about knowing yourself, right? But also accepting the culture of the other people. The culture of others. See you when are we meeting next?
We are going to do it on Wednesday after group week.
Because tomorrow we are doing it.
But that one will be what? It's going to be
After the 8
So you won't be by
meaning like in the morning, this guy, the other guy, in the morning, after but also on the and we remind the other guys
Last Saturday was when? Today is 5th, 2nd, last Sunday was the 9th.